Tessa Brewer, Texas officials say the Dashcam video connected with a woman's jail cell death is legitimate. The nearly hour-long video released yesterday shows a Texas state trooper pulling over, then arresting Sandra Bland. The 28-year-old woman was found dead in her cell 3 days later. Now, a few seconds of that video shows breaks and jumps, leading some to believe the whole thing was doctored. But the Texas Department of Safety released this statement regarding those allegations. The video's not been edited. To eliminate any concerns as to the efficacy of the video, DPS previously requested the FBI examine the dash cam and jail video to ensure the integrity of the video. The entire video was uploaded to include the audio and video of the conversation the trooper had by telephone with his sergeant, which occurred after the arrest. Some of the video that occurred during this conversation was affected in the upload and is being addressed. We are working to repost the Dashcam video. Joining us now from Houston is criminal defense attorney Nicole DeBorde. Nicole, thanks for joining us today. What do you make of the Department of Public Safety's assertion here about the video and its efficacy, its legitimacy?
It's so very strange. What I don't understand is why they would release a video that was not in tip-top shape to the public in such a polarizing case, for starters. But second of all, this really needs to be something that is determined by a forensic specialist. This is not something that the department should be making a determination about themselves. They need to have somebody who is specialized in being able to look at these videos and computers and the digital upload to determine whether or not, in fact, anything has been added or removed to or from this video.
You know, the question here, when you have a woman in her 20s who's excited about a new job, moves across the country, and gets pulled over in a traffic stop to some 3 days later being found dead in a jail cell, the whole thing stinks to high heaven. There are questions from start to finish. Do you think that the Public Safety Department is doing the best job possible addressing the concerns and the skepticism?
You know, that's a difficult question to answer because they have to balance the need for the public to have information about this case, but obviously this thing needs to be scrutinized by criminal investigators. And when something like that is going on, they have to strike a balance between releasing information to the public, but also thoroughly investigating everything without leaking out a detail that might affect how some witness in the future testifies. So it doesn't appear that it's being handled in the best way possible, but there may be some reason that not all of the information or explanations are being released.
When you're looking at the jail cell video, they had released the video showing that moment when the corrections officer goes into Sandra Bland's jail cell and discovers her body, and then the paramedics rush in. Why not then release all the video leading up to that moment? It seems like if there are concerns by her family that there's something the corrections officers are not telling, that you could eliminate some of those concerns with more videotape.
Absolutely. It seems like information in this particular circumstance would be extremely helpful. There are a lot of questions about whether or not they were watching this particular individual in jail appropriately. Obviously, she had had an altercation with a police officer. All jails should be doing an intake when they bring someone into their facility to determine whether or not they have some sort of special need to be watched. And we don't know whether any of that was done in this particular case.
Well, we already know that again, from the Texas Department of Public Safety, that this jail broke the rules that they were supposed to be checking her in person every hour, and they admit that was not done. The traffic stop, the subsequent arrest, the confrontation outside of Sandra Bland's car, should that be viewed separately from whatever unfolded inside the jail cell that culminated in Sandra Bland's death?
Here's a lawyer answer for you. Yes and no. It needs to be viewed separately because they're two totally separate incidents. Should she have been arrested is one question. And then the next question, however, is should she have been monitored or cared for differently in the jail? Obviously, we know the answer now is yes, but did they take all of the precautions that they should have taken by evaluating her based on the information they should have had about her behavior?
One last question here for you, Nicole. When you're looking at this video, when you see a police officer say, get out of the car, I'm going to light you up. I mean, just listen, pull up that videotape. Let me hear it.
County FM 1098, just north of 290, send me another unit. Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car. Get out of the car now, or I'm going to remove you.
And I'm calling my lawyer.
I'm going to yank you out of here.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to take me.
You are under arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
Get out of the car.
And then you
I will light you up. Get out.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Get out of the car.
Really I'm getting a warning for what?
Stay right here.
For what? Well, you
Stay
just
right
pointed me over there.
I said stay right here.
You're about to break my wrist. Can you stop? You are about to break my wrist.
Stop moving. Stop now.
I'm not an expert in traffic stops. I'm not an expert in criminal justice. I'm not an expert in how arrests are supposed to be made. Here's what concerns me about that. It concerns me that he pulled her over for a traffic stop and then pulled her out of a car, and I can't see why.
I would have to agree with you, quite frankly, and they have not released any information about why that would have occurred that makes me feel like it should have occurred. This is a problem, and officers should be trained to de-escalate bad circumstances. This officer was not doing anything that I can see to de-escalate. In fact, his behavior actually escalated things to a more dangerous situation.
And you know what? There's no law that demands that drivers must be obsequious or even polite to a person who's writing them a warning or pulled them over to give them a ticket.
That's exactly right. They don't have to be polite. Law enforcement, on the other hand, has to be professional at all times. That's something that this officer should have known. There wasn't any reason for him to tell her to put out her cigarette that we know of. If there's something that later comes up and he can articulate what he was thinking, why he was investigating and what he was investigating, then maybe things would change. But right now, based on what we can see and hear in this video, it doesn't make any sense.
Feeling bad for Sandra Bland's family. Not only have they lost their loved one, but seeing this, what was her last moments of freedom, just devastating. Nicole DeBorde, criminal defense attorney there in Houston. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.